G'day guys, how we going? Take two. I'm on this diet at the moment, so my head's a bit flushed. You know, when you cut the carbs, it's like, oh God, feeling it. But anyway, I'm here and I'm here to speak about my trip to France and Spain that's coming up. Um, there's there's a theme to this trip, and it's to be honest, it's a little it's very uncertain what I'm actually going to create. So I'll give you a bit of backstory to this. So, well, it's not uncertain what I'll create; it's uncertain how it will happen. Um, I've been getting that I'm going to Spain and France for like 2 years, right? And when I was in Victoria at my last house sit, I got intuitively that I'm coming to Central Coast. That was the next place. And so I'm taking on all these house sits, but the back of my mind, it's just like, you've got this trip to Europe, you've got this trip to Europe. And I was just getting all of these places that I'm going to intuitively, but no like bridge to say, go now, book it in, book it in. So anyway, I get here, and like the second week that I'm here, I get a bridge, book your flight over to to Barcelona, and it was a little confronting because you guys might have seen that I was advertising an event that I was running in Bali, okay, and I had like five verbal yeses, like people were keen, but no one had paid yet, right? So I'd sent the links out, people were keen, but no one had paid. So then I get this like hit, you're going to Barcelona. So I I ask when am I going to Barcelona? You know, I'm in an intuitive meditation structure, and the date that I get is May 17th. And I get out of it and I go, shit, man, that's when I start my Bali event. Like this makes no sense whatsoever. And I was, quite triggered by it because it's like, God, I've been pushing this thing. And so like I've been, my mentors have told me, and like I've learned with intuition, you never question it. You never question it. So I send out the messages to people. I go, listen, uh, thank God you haven't paid, but I'm not going to be running it. And then, thank God I'd only paid half the deposit for the event space at the hotel. So then I do that and I book my flight to go to Barcelona. Now, what was interesting was I was still a little like unclear on exactly what this trip's about. Am I just going to have a holiday, or is there a like it's something I'm going to create? Am I going to be doing music over there? What's the thing? And again, in this meditative structure, I just got that I'm expanding my network over in these countries for retreats and events that I want to run. So it was like, okay, straight away, ego's like, well, you can't do that because you can't speak Spanish. Well, I can speak a little bit. ¿Cómo estás? And I definitely cannot speak French. I can't speak French. Oh man, my French is horrible. I don't know if you guys have been to Paris, but man, you try to speak French over there, they will speak English back at you in like this condescending way where it's like, I can understand your English. Okay. I know your English. Don't speak my language ever again. You're insulting me. It's kind of like that, right? Anyway, I love Paris. It's I've said I last time I was there, I wasn't the biggest fan because it was winter, but I'm excited to experience it again because there's parts of it that I'm assuming that I'll love when it's summertime. So I've got this intention, and to be true, right? To be true, I only have maybe like 2 to 3 connections in Spain, and in France. I got a good mate of mine in Paris. I got another connection in Paris, and that's it. And I don't know even if these guys know anyone, or that anything will come of catching up with them to run retreats and events. So I'm here and I'm going, God, I've got this trip and far out. And usually, but when I go to Europe, I like to book in like Airbnbs where I stay, and especially I'm going to Mallorca. I don't know if you guys know where Mallorca is, but it's like a Spanish island. And yeah, I love staying on the beach, like getting a place with nice views and everything. Like I did that when I was in Tenerife last time. Uh, but this time again, I'm doing it with intuition, so it's very different. It's like going to hostels. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Hostels, wow. And I've done this before. I did it when I was in Central America in Guatemala, and that was fine. But it seems to be that that's where I'm going to make all of these connections. So it's like, okay, and he goes like, man, you're gonna meet all these kids. You're 30 now in Bali. Like I felt like a bit of a grandpa in Bali, because I'm only 30, I'm young. But there was a lot of like 19, 20, 21-year olds around the island, and they were asking me, oh yeah, you used to live here. And I just felt very old. So that's quite a new thing for me. But anyway, so but I've been getting that's where I'm going. So, you know, being in the unknown like this, I've been here before quite a few times, and um it's cool to notice how my ego's coming up and saying like it's not going to happen. You're not going to connect with other entrepreneurs or expats or people that are running events over there because you're that you don't know how it's going to happen. But what's been so interesting, the more I acknowledge that, and the more I just focus on the end outcome of this trip, I just keep getting these wild ideas. So to give you two, um, the first one that I've already implemented is I'm running a meditative event, a guided meditation event in Palma, Mallorca, where I'm staying. And it's, I've let them know, listen, guys, so this is an intuitive meditation. It's the one I take my one-to-one clients through. Um, my Spanish is horrible, but come along if you can understand English. And some people are starting to join the group and signing up. So it's like, here we go. This will be interesting. Early morning, I think it's a Thursday. I'm running it on a beach, just like right in the busy part of Palma. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see what comes of that. And what was also like cool, but also a bit like why there, um, was to get a house sit in the French countryside. So I don't know if I've let you guys know this, but I got this house sit in Coupe Train, and it's in the main region of France, so like northwest. And at first, it was just like this will be a really cool place for you to stay. But as at what so I booked it, literally when I got my flights to Barcelona. So again, this was intuitive. It's like hostel for Barcelona, and then you want a house sit in France. It's like, but what about the next place? It's like, no, get a house sit in France. So, it's like 18th of June to the 2nd of July. I'm in this French countryside. And what I'm getting about this house sit is I'm going to be finishing my second book there, which is gathering a shit ton of momentum. Like there is so much momentum behind this second book. 3 chapters in, about to complete the fourth chapter. So I'm interviewing people for it. Again, I don't know how much I've shared on my podcast about this, but yeah, apparently I'm gonna finish it there. So it's like, whoa, okay, cooking with gas here, as my dad likes to say. Um, but it's just like again, there's all of these other questions. He goes like, well, okay, but what's it all gonna mean? Like, what if you go and run this event and nothing happens and la 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 la? It's like something has to happen. So like you got to force it. But you know, every time I'm in that, I just keep reminding myself every time I'm in that like zone, nothing good ever happens. I've done that enough where you go into how you done things before when you go and do these trips or when you go and yeah, basically anything, write a song or whatever. And I just made the decision, well, this time when I go to Europe, we're just doing the whole thing intuitively. And I don't care how weird it gets. I know by the end of it, if I just follow through and stay in the vision, there's going to be some magic. And maybe, guys, like, again, I think why I'm sharing this today is to like give you guys a a perspective from when I'm finished the trip and to look back and go, man, if I don't believe I couldn't have imagined that all of this happened. But I don't even know if it'll be like that. I might get to the end and it'll just be like, I experienced a bunch of cool things. I got my book done. I ran the event, and I'm just feeling like a different person. I'm feeling like a better person for the trip, for going for all these things. Or I could get to the end of the trip and there's just like all these cool connections. Maybe I run another event over there. I don't know. All I know is that when I get intuitively guided to do something like this, there's just this, I can't help it, just with the references that I have now, I can't help but have this positive expectancy where it's like something fucking cool's gonna happen. It's gonna come out of nowhere. Um, so yeah, so that's what's going on. And one thing that I've been playing more with is this principle of setting up locus points. So I don't know if you guys have done much looking into locuses. It's like this scientific thing. I don't really even understand it scientifically fully, but my coach explained it to me, and she's like, a locus is basically a meeting point where everything's situated around. She was talking about like soft drinks when you pour a soft drink, all the bubbles like come from one place or something like that. But it's basically a main point where all activity surrounds it. So I understood it enough to go, okay, well, that means that if I'm taking certain action every day, every week, and setting up things ahead of time as locus points, I'm going to create activity around me that is reflected of that. So what was cool, after I booked in the French countryside trip, I actually hadn't started my book at that point. By setting up that trip, it was like, fuck, it's March. And I meant to finish this thing in July. We better get cracking, right? Now, I've written a book in a week before, but this thing is a bit of a monster, right? I'm interviewing people. I've got to get the interviews. I've got to book into their schedule. And then after I interview them, there's going to be, extracting the lessons and lining it up to the main theme of the book. So that got me going. And then it was like, okay, well, I'm not just going to write when I feel like it. I'm going to write every day. In fact, I'm going to write for an hour every day, first thing, before I do anything else. And what's been incredible is not only have I interviewed people and written chapters, but there's just this, when you're connected to what you're doing, like it's so connected to this book where it's like I really bloody get what this is about. And we've got some amazing guests coming on now. So the the knowledge and the things that are being shared, it just continues to like snowball and get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm very excited to share this project with you when it's done. But that only happened because of the booking myself in to go to France. Right now, of course, if I had egoically designed that to go, I'm going to set this to force myself to start writing. It's not going to work, right? Because again, we've all done that, where it's like, I'm going to buy the gym membership and then I'm going to go to the gym every day and be a beast. You do it for a week and then you give up. All right. But when it's true for you and it's like just that nudge and you follow it, like my experience has been, it just works, man. It gets you moving. So that's been like 2 weeks, an hour every morning. Um, and another locus point that's been really cool from just taking that main action for booking those flights over to Spain has been really like leaning into connecting with people in my network currently, because it's like, okay, well, I am saying to myself, I'm going to connect with people in Barcelona, Mallorca, and in these hostels that I'm staying at. So if I'm not doing it in my own sphere on social media, then how the hell am I going to do this in person? So every day, there's just been connections, 30 connections a day. Doesn't matter whether I know them, doesn't matter whether I don't know them. Recently, I've made it like 10 new connections and then 20 like existing every day. and sometimes there's an intention, like if I've got like an event, I've got my beta event coming up next Saturday. That's another example that came as an idea after I booked in the meditation event at Mallorca. So it's like these flow-on effects. And you know, there's like 20 people coming to that now, which is really cool. So these locus points, they have this way of just building a bunch of activity around whatever you're doing that reflects what you want. So yeah, I'm setting up more locus points to bring about the end result that I'm after for this Spanish trip. I've got the emotions. I know the emotions of how I want to be when I get on that plane and I leave. Um, but the form and of the end result and like the how is unknown, and if there's anything that I've learned, this is a very powerful place to be. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed my share today, and wish me luck, because this is going to be a journey of a lifetime when I yeah, jet off May 16th. Yeah, it's going to be cool. All right, guys, that's it from me. You have a good weekend, and we'll catch up soon.